What is a vaccine passport? A vaccine passport, also known as an immunity certificate or health pass, is a document that certifies the bearer's immunity to a dangerous disease. Governments can use public certifications to help lessen the effects of an epidemic or pandemic. What are the issues surrounding vaccine passports? The idea that one must obtain a vaccine passport in order to go to certain locations or to acquire certain jobs means that the freedom of choice is removed. Secondary citizenship is formed. This may lead to priority in healthcare, food, and other basic needs. Vaccine passports give populations an inaccurate perception of the removed risk of COVID-19, and intolerance is formed among the general populace. Pros and cons. Given the global imbalance of vaccine availability, it is not difficult to imagine a situation where the citizens of rich countries may regain their rights to travel to environments where local populations are in some form of lockdown. This potential to further divide the global rich from the global poor is a significant concern. Once economies start to open and those with vaccine passports are able to go about their businesses as usual, the urgency to deal with COVID-19 in marginalized communities may dissipate. Furthermore, vaccine passports may give populations an inaccurate level of risk perception. It is still unclear how long immunity will last. It is also unclear the extent to which virus transmission is limited once one is vaccinated. Public health authorities still suggest that vaccinated individuals wear masks and maintain distance in public for now, especially if interacting with unvaccinated people. Most countries are in the early stages of the vaccine rollout, and given the concerns about the impact of existing variants on the ability of the vaccine to offer protection, it would be premature to introduce the passport system. Archard says, I think we're about halfway through the first half, and we don't want to start introducing red and yellow cards quite yet. We want to head on into the second half and see if we can see how it's working.
Discrimination. Such passports will be used to give people who are vaccinated and presumed to have immunity the ability to do things that others can't. Given that the vaccine rollout is based on a priority system, some people will be vaccinated before others. Those who choose not to get vaccinated despite being offered the vaccine may also lose out on various opportunities. There's a danger of stigmatizing individuals who lack certification, and many experts suggest that you may also penalize people who are already at a disadvantage because of certain inequalities. Fraud. Passports could encourage people who have not yet been vaccinated or chosen not to be vaccinated to get certification on the black market, which, according to some experts, once more, if these passports are adopted, they need to be in such a way that it's not subject to fraud. Privacy. Typically, health information such as vaccination records are stored in the national health system. These passports that are now being proposed could mean that data is shared with outside companies. Could it be used in ways that are unfair, that are stigmatizing and prejudicial to the interests of individuals? Exactly how is it put into practical effect that would also raise reasonable ethical concerns that would need to be addressed? Our final thoughts. The freedom of choice is not a valid argument in vaccine debates. It is an ignorant argument, and it disregards the potential impacts that the virus can have on other people if it's passed on, which would occur if these people were to travel freely in the midst of a pandemic like we are currently experiencing. However, it's evident that this is not sustainable, and it's limiting many, given many are unable to have the vaccine due to health and religious concerns, which do indeed justify an exemption, as intolerance is not a value that should be looked upon kindly in society. The real issue is how to maximize herd immunity and protect as many people as possible, which requires us to weed out those who resist the vaccines. Instead of removing their rights and privileges, vaccines should become incentivized so people take them unquestioning if they have the health and the ability to take it. One way this can happen is if the government pays a sum of money for each dose, for the maximum amount of 3 doses, which would totally boost their immunity against the virus. This would significantly reduce the collective strength that anti-vaxxers have, as the collective is more dangerous than any one or two individuals. A large portion of anti-vaxxers are expected to take the vaccine with these incentives, and thus reduce the impact of the group as a whole.